On Friday, former Grammy-winning artist and recording producer Sean Combs was sentenced in federal court in New York City after having been convicted earlier this summer on 2 counts of transporting individuals across state lines for prostitution. He was sentenced to a prison term of slightly more than 4 years, given a $500,000 fine, as well as 5 years on supervised release. Let's bring in friend of the show and noted defense attorney Darryl Cohen. Darryl, we talked about this while it was going on. We were all over it. You was giving us great insight on what was taking place here. Now, walk us through this particular sentence. Is typical for the convictions that Diddy faced under this Mann Act?
Well, Chesney, it's very interesting. Did you notice that on the last hour, actually after the last hour, Puff Daddy was begging for help? Mm-hmm. Sorry that I did it. Way too late. Way too late. People keep it coming, but the sentence is ready to go. So he received the 4-year sentence, right? In the federal system, you serve 85% of your time. There is no parole as there is in the state system, at least in Georgia. And so he will have to serve 85% of that time. There's a question, however. Mm-hmm. Does the amount of time that he spent waiting to be sentenced as he was incarcerated before and during and after trial, will that count toward the 4 years? I don't know. We'll have to wait and see how the court handles it. So it's a very interesting case. He was very fortunate. He could have gotten 11 years. He did not. But he was also unfortunate that he was convicted of doing really bad stuff. Mm-hmm. And I just don't understand why he's crying. He ought to be jumping for joy that it wasn't the serious sentence that he could have received.
Yeah, he could have received a lot more. Yet he got this mid-range, I guess you would call it a mid-range sentence. How do courts balance condemnation and restraint?
It's always hard to tell. It depends on what happens in the courtroom. We like to say it's all about the facts. Well, it is, but then it's body language, it's facial expressions, it's how someone acted toward the court. Were they respectful? Were they denying it? What was their overall act? That makes a big difference. The judge can only do what he or she sees happens in the courtroom and based upon the facts. Now, there are still federal guidelines that govern this, but they're no longer mandatory. There was a time when the court would have nothing to do but follow the guidelines. Now, the court entered a sentence, and we'll see what Puff Daddy does. Obviously, he's going to appeal, so as Yogi Berra once said, it ain't over till it's over, and we'll see if it's over.
All right. So you mentioned earlier about his apology. You think it's way too late for him to have apologized? If you were there with him, you would have had him apologize earlier on?
There was an old Johnny Mathis song, too much, too little, too late. Mm-hmm. If I had been representing him, I would have strangled him, not physically, but vocally, and said, you've got to apologize immediately after the conviction. You've got to say that my actions were terrible, they look bad, and I am not that person. I so apologize. Instead, what did he do? He waited until the last possible second. Your Honor, please don't do this to me. I don't know what he was thinking, what his lawyers were able to make him do or not, and ultimately it's the client who makes a decision as to how they're going to act or react.
Yeah. If Diddy was like an unknown person, right? He wasn't famous. Or do you think the sentence would look a little different?
Absolutely. I think it would be far less. And also, if his reputation preceding his court appearances was different, I think the sentence would have been different. Yeah. He wanted probation. The federal prosecution, the U.S. Attorney's Office wanted 11 years. It's a good compromise as far as life is concerned. May not be a good compromise as far as the individual is concerned on either side, but it's probably the right thing to do that the judge did.
Gotcha. Darryl Cohen, thanks so much for your insight as always, and I'm sure we'll have you back, my friend.